Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Passion Within. We've got Dennis Meehan today. We had his brother here last week, and we've actually got his sister coming up an hour after this show ends, Megan. And Dennis was telling me he kind of snuck that one in on Megan. So this is the little devil. I'm sure if we had Mom on, she'd be going, yeah, he's the one you got to watch out for. So, Dennis, thank you very much for coming on. You and your family are amazing people, and I've had a great connection with you guys on so many different levels, and you're so appreciated in the community for what you guys are doing, the knowledge that you're bringing, the education, you're teaching people all the time. And I want to start where, you as a child, what's the one thing that really, really annoyed mom and dad the most about what trouble Dennis would get into?
Oh, that's a great one to start with. Um, so the first memory that pops in my head is there's a big wood pile, and
Mm-hmm.
they told us not to go, or told me not to go play on it. And what, of course, do? I do? I go play on it, and there ends up being some nails sticking out of the wood, and I fall on it, and it goes into my knee. And that
Oh,
experience leads to mom and dad telling me, "You need to listen to me more." What are you doing? So that was definitely a transition for me to be able to understand, okay, I need to listen to it more in order to protect myself.
now have you actually done that? I know parents are really great saying, listen to me, don't do this, and etc. But I know most children, it's more like, oh, you're telling me not to do it. Well, that's something I want to try. Is that Dennis?
Not so much actually. I'm very conservative for the most part. There are times definitely when I'm always listening to my intuition. So whatever my
Right.
intuition is telling me at all times, I'm following that and seeing where that takes me. And that's something that my parents definitely instilled into us, and
Hmm.
um, just kind of following that golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. And that's what I've
Yes.
lived my life through. Hello, buddy. We got my buddy
Oh,
Bodie here. Hello.
hi,
He heard,
Bodie.
must have heard us talking. Hello. You go, boy. I know. He's
Well, we do love animals on this show, that's for sure.
definitely see him all the time, especially the dogs. They're so loved.
Yeah. So, what kind of dog is Bodie?
He's a pit bull. So my dad's brother had the
Hmm.
male, and one of my dad's good friends had the female, and they ended up breeding that. So we ended up getting one of the offsprings.
Well,
It's
that's
our
fantastic.
Yeah, it's our first pit bull. He's definitely allowed us to grow in many ways.
Well, and I know people have, a bad reputation about pit bulls, but I've never found one that didn't like me and didn't come up and want to get cuddled and their belly rubbed. And I think a lot of it has to do with who you are and your attitude towards them, as much as if you're threatening their family. Yeah, watch out, baby, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a great way of putting it. They're very family oriented. They'll do anything for their tribe, but they are very loving dogs. They're just ours. Everything I've seen in a pit bull has been shown what you're talking about. Our pit bull
Mhm.
seems to be very scared. I think when he came out of when he was born, he was a stillborn. So
Right.
our friend had to literally blow air back into his life. So he's kind of fearful of a lot of different things, especially loud noises. So he's getting better every day. So that's really a
Mhm.
wonderful thing.
Oh, definitely. Like they can bring such joy to our hearts, and
Mhm.
they just love us unconditionally. And like I tell people, I love everyone, but I have boundaries. And just like Bodie does, he has boundaries too, where if you push those boundaries, that's when you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
So, okay, we've explored where Dennis really got mom and dad upset with him because he wasn't paying attention to what they were saying. So
Yeah.
what's one of the fun things that Dennis used to do as a kid? Like you're not that old, brother, but as a child, what was one of the things you just really excited you and you just love to do?
Well, two things come to mind. But I've always been into sports ever since I was a little boy. I literally had every single ball inside my crib with me at all times. So I grew up playing sports. I played baseball, basketball, football, soccer. So everything I
Mhm.
could get my hands on. I ended up playing baseball in college and 1 year of football in college. Um,
Okay.
but then also, what was the other thing? Oh, I used to just love going out in nature, and what I do in nature is I kind of stack all these different things together. Like I'd make piles of leaves just because. I'd make piles of rocks just because. I'd make piles of sticks just because. I don't know
Mhm.
why I did it, but it felt natural. It felt like the right thing to do. And then now I'm doing the hula cultures, so kind of full circle.
Well, maybe your younger self was starting to do that already, just didn't know why. You were just naturally doing it. I think that would be probably closer to the truth.
Oh, definitely. I think it was a previous life that kind of just followed through.
Well, and like they talk about the indigenous tribes and the tribes in Europe that they used to make the Hugo culture like in the spring and the fall, and then they'd, migrate. And the one that they had built the last year was going to be ready for planting in the spring. So maybe that was one of your past lives.
That would be, I wouldn't be surprised.
Genghis Khan. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Maybe once upon a time.
So tell us a fun fact about Dennis, something that you don't really normally talk about because you don't remember it, but something that just out of the ordinary about you.
A fun fact about Dennis. Hmm.
Okay, I can
Wow.
see the smoke curling out of the ears now.
Yeah. Well, so most of my childhood revolved around sports.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of all the memories that it kind of goes back to. Um, some fun memories. I don't know why. And I've always been, so I was a kicker in high school because it kind of translated over from soccer. And I did other things as well, but I always, because I was made fun of because I was a kicker, it kind of translated into how I perceived it and my confidence in it. So I never
Mhm.
really thought as a kicker as someone who contributed big time to the football team. But my freshman year of high school, I kicked a 47-yard field goal to win
Oof.
the game. So that was pretty cool.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
that's a
most,
rare thing.
yeah, I guess so.
I don't think I could kick a ball 47 feet at the best of times.
It just kind of came naturally to me. Anything with like my feet with a soccer ball or football, it kind of just happened, which was pretty cool.
Okay, then I have to ask, are you a good dancer?
When I was younger, I was a pretty good dancer. I didn't really care about how people thought and perceived things, but now I've kind of shifted into my head. But I don't know. I'm starting to allow that boogie out again. I'm starting to loosen up a little bit as I grow older and grow wiser.
Well, I don't know about older, because to me you just look like you're early 20s, but the way you're talking, you've been through university already. So, what were you studying in university or college? I think you said.
Yeah, business management. I graduated with a bachelor's in. Yeah. So my idea was kind of just always I wanted to run my own business, so it kind of translated easily into the family's business that we were running and operating at the time. We kind of opened up the storefront 3 months after I graduated from college, so it kind of worked out perfectly.
Well, and having that education, and you can really see where other people couldn't be, or mom and dad wouldn't be able to coordinate the data that you're able to because of the education that you've got.
Yeah, we worked very well together, especially in the first couple of years. You'd think it would, especially when you hear about families working and starting businesses, kind of there's a lot of contrast and different thoughts and different opinions, so they
Mhm.
kind of butt heads. But we had the same vision, and we just knew we wanted to help people. So any way we could do that, we were all on board.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the family and, what the end goal is. But Silly Lily actually has a question for you, Dennis. So, Dennis, what is your passion in life?
What a beautiful question. I'm going to ask her the same question after we get out this show. But my passion in life, I have many passions.
Hmm.
But right now, my main focus has been regenerative farming and getting the most nutrient dense medicine to people that are in our community. And my biggest one has been the children. So our main focus this year is going to be supplying a lot of food and vegetables and fruits to the schools in the area.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
And it's all about the children and their futures. Like I myself, I'm getting up there in age. I have no kids other than fur kids, but I have a passion for helping, everyone, but really the children, because that is their future. And like we had somebody earlier that was saying, they look at you. Here it is. Dennis is the future to our community. Much respect and love, brother, because the younger generation, which you're part of, is a real future for people like me and Leighton who are getting up there a couple of days. We can see you guys being the future of our entire world.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's been a huge movement to be able to, and it's happening everywhere across the country, everywhere across the world, which has been really remarkable. And regenerative farming can save the world in so many different aspects. So it's been a fun journey learning everything along the way. And you and Layton have definitely been a huge mentors and inspirations for us and our family.
Well, thank you. I think Leighton has a lot more of the technical knowledge than I do, and that's why I rely on him for a lot of the technical end of things. But for you, where do you think that your education for the children is going to go in regenerative farming in that aspect?
I think it's going to go a long ways. I think that the educational aspects will go very far. We do a lot of educational workshops at the barn.
Hmm.
So a lot of children attend those workshops. We plan on doing a educational program for specifically children this year. So we'll be teaching them all kinds of different things from how to plant, how to literally build hugelcultures from the ground up.
Hmm.
Then at the very end, we're planning on doing a harvest where we go from harvesting the fruit and the vegetables right from the property, and then we make a spread for everybody. So we'll be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor that the children were able to literally start from the ground up and share with their family.
Oh, that's going to be amazing, and being able to share it with their family, where they can, you know, bring it to mom and dad and their brothers and sisters and say, "I helped create this." That
Mm,
gives so much joy in a person's heart to be able to give like that.
absolutely, and that's what it's all about. And when we give, we get so much more.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's all about caring, sharing, and community, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we've been a little bit into your past in your younger we know what education you had, we know what you're doing with the barn. um so right now, where are you going with the barn and that aspect? I know you guys have started some meditation choruses, etc. What else are you guys working on right now?
So we have a couple different big events that we plan on doing. We're in
Hmm.
the So we have Honey Pot, which is coming up March 10th and 11th. That's going to be a hash competition on the 10th, so that Friday. And the day after, Saturday, March 11th, we plan on having a educational platform. Um, so it's going to be a really fun couple of days, and a lot of memories will be made, a lot of connections. And I think that's one of the most important things is people being able to try other people's stuff and be able to meet people face to face and have heart-to-heart conversation and just grow together. And that's a major part, is growing.
Yeah.
And that's kind
So
of what
who are
I've been
some,
taught. I'm
oh,
sorry.
pardon me, go ahead. I cut you off there.
No, that's just kind of what the cannabis plant has always taught us.
Mm.
Grow more as a person, grow more cannabis plants, grow more seeds, and just grow, grow, grow.
Well, and the growth is in so many different directions,
Mm.
from learning in the soil, from, the spiritual side to the energetic side. There's so much growth that the cannabis plant is teaching us if we are willing to listen. And, you know, where did you guys come up with the idea, or was it from the cannabis plant on the crystals you guys added to your Hugo culture? This was it last spring,
Last winter.
last winter?
Yep. So that was for our indoor garden
Hmm.
beds. And we based that pretty much on Leighton and his advice. We were talking and like we were going back and forth for a while, for a couple of weeks over the phone. We're trying to figure out what the best route would be to kind of follow through with this and make this literally a forever bed where we won't have to look back at it and be like, oh, we should have done this or we should change that or anything like that. So we literally wanted to go as best quality as we could right from the get go. And we were talking, and he was saying that the rocks on the side of the river and streams and lakes and ponds and stuff like this have been there for generations and generations, and they hold all this indigenous microorganism and aquatic microorganisms filled with all this life and all this knowledge. So then that got me and my brother thinking. We are like, where can we find the best? Because we're in Maine, we have a resource of water all around us. It's a plethora of it, and we're very thankful. We're very lucky. But we went to our pond and we found all these rocks, and they kind of look dirty, dusty from the outside, and kind of old, and you think nothing of it. But when you smash it open, it's filled with all this crystals and these very shiny. I don't even know the right word for it, but it kind of like calls you into it. But
Hmm.
the reason why we wanted this, the jagged part of these rocks and these crystals was because the bacteria would be able to form on it and be able to grow from it. So more life would be able to grow from this. And we broke that down to about 2 inch minus so that they weren't too big, but and it acts as a aquifer layer on the bottom of our beds with sand on top of that. So we were trying to mimic nature as much as possible and listening to our mentor Leighton as much as possible.
Well, and yeah, because he teaches about putting that rock and sand at the very bottom, so you have that ability for the water to drain out and wick back up. And
Hmm.
it's one of the more important parts of the horizontal soil system. And so you guys were really starting to create that at the bottom of your indoor, and then you built up from there. But I know that Mike, when we were speaking last week, he mentioned that you had chose rocks and some that you didn't choose. So how are you choosing or making that choice inside of yourselves?
Complete intuition and intention. So what we were doing, we took our socks off. We were walking in the water, and we kind of just observing and being a part of where we were and completely immersing ourselves into nature and into that moment. And that's what we do when we're collecting anything from nature. But we were just kind of walking up and down our shoreline and feeling around, looking at all the life that was forming, the moss, the rigid edges, and then whatever called to us, we would put our hands on it, and then we'd feel it. If it was not right, not calling to us, we would leave it. If it was calling to us and it felt right, felt like home, we brought it with us, and we ended up smashing it by hand. And yes, Lane is a sensei. But yeah, all intuition, everything. That's all we do with everything we do.
Well, and that's one of the beauties of what you guys are doing is being in touch and in tune with nature and what you're doing. She does lead you if you allow her, and that's what you guys are basically doing, is allowing her to lead you in the progression not only of knowledge but in sharing that knowledge.
Yes, thank you. And that's just we are so connected to nature, and we've kind of lost that over the years as a race. And once we remember that we are nature and we get back to that
Mhm.
stasis part where we just are in balance at all the time, barefoot, walking in nature, fully connected, fully immersed, we can learn so much and remember all that we are.
So have you delved into redox potential very much? Like, the way that your dad and mom were talking about the energy field that you created. Did you guys consider that once that energy started to flow?
Uh, so when I was talking to Leighton, redox potential was something that he was originally diving quite a bit into. It was a couple of years ago, and he told me
Hmm.
to look at it. And to be honest, it was way over my head. It was too much science for me, to be honest with you. But it definitely gave me a perspective of the energy and all the different particles and the protons and the communication that is happening with that energy. So I've I base all that energy more on a spiritual level than a
Right.
scientific level. And I know how it's
Mhm.
both connected, but I focus more on the spiritual side than the science side.
And that's basically what I do too. I let Leighton go down the science and Av. They
Yeah.
keep sending me these documents, and it's like, yeah, okay. I'll read the highlights of the white paper. That's enough for me, okay? But so I know you guys are working quite a bit with the indigenous tribes in North America on the water project and other projects that you guys have. Have you been talking to them about the connection that you have with nature at all?
Yes. So we have been in contact mostly with some tribes out in the California around Clear Lake.
Hmm.
That's the lake that we've been working a lot on for Clearwater Vision the past year. But we have been slowly emerging and immersing ourselves into the Native American tribes across the country. We kind of just, like everything else, we kind of allow it to unfold naturally,
Yeah.
organically. But one of our properties that we have looked at for our future for our family
Hmm.
is on a and part of a native indigenous tribe on their land. So we have always been in the talks, but we are definitely looking forward to communicating more on a higher basis for sure.
Well, the knowledge that the tribes have in the spiritual realms is a lot more than what we've ever considered or what most have ever considered. And it's um, it's an honor for them to allow you to be a part of what they're doing. It speaks a lot about who you and your family really is on a deeper level that they can see that most of us, don't even have any idea of.
Absolutely. And it's just about connecting with them, being able to communicate and being who we really are, just being in our unconditional love at all times and showing our true self, being transparent. And that's, if we walk in that love at any
Mhm.
moment in our life, we can continue allowing that love to come to us.
Well, and they don't look at things the way that most people in our society do. They look at energy and everything on a totally different perspective, and most of people just don't get it. But you guys do, and that's one of the wonders that you guys are sharing with the rest of the people out there. Is there is this community, there is this connection. If you allow yourself and you get out of your head and get it out, get into your heart, you can really do some amazing things. Like Lily was talking about, grounding is so very important. We do need to reconnect to nature. It will remind us of who we really are and what we are capable of. We're creator beings, after all, as she said.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. When we're barefoot, we're more connected. We're able to come to balance. We're able to connect with mama, and that's how we're
Mhm.
supposed to be.
Yes, and we're supposed to sleep on Mother Earth. You
Mm.
know, we're never supposed to be wearing, the rubber shoes that, insulate us from that energy field. But, Fruit and Gas is saying I ground myself every day when I wake up.
What a blessing.
Have you heard about people using, oh, geez, copper plates and things like that for grounding for when they sleep?
Not for when they're sleeping. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, the my wife actually does a little bit of research on that end, and people are laying out copper sheets, connecting them to a ground wire, and some people are saying that they've cured some really significant ailments in their bodies by just having that under their mattress. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities when you can reconnect and allow that energy to flow into your body.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. We have to allow and be open-minded to those possibilities. That's a big thing. We've been so close-minded as a species for so long that we haven't allowed for growth because we're just scared. We're fearful. We have to live through that heart space and through that love. And all that we want will manifest for us.
Well, and understanding that all things are possible, even though they may be unlikely, they are still possible. I think that allows somebody to take that next step in their understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, where do you guys see yourself going? You mentioned a property that you guys are looking at for the future. Um, are you going to be part of the family staying at the barn and what you guys have done there, and then part of the family expanding out? Where you guys think you're going to be going in the future?
So that's a really fun part about how we live our lives is I never thought we'd be where we are, especially as quickly as we got where we are.
Hmm.
So, to tell you where I think we're going could be a completely misunderstanding of where we actually are going. But what I can tell you is that the future is so bright and we continually make connections every single day. Our main focus right now is a barn and growing that out. We plan on putting like little spaces around the property for people to stay on, like yurts, and
Yeah.
we have a couple teepees already. We need to repair them, but we have a couple of them already, which are really cool. We plan on doing Megan's school, building that out for the upcoming fall. She's graduating this spring, so that's really exciting. And growing that PMA out more, building that community out more, allowing for more events to happen, more in tune with the body, and using our food that we grow on property to be the main driver of that health. So we're going to be focusing a lot on yoga, stretching, meditation. We have a lot of energy healers. So massages, reflexology, Reiki. We have a lot of sound therapy stuff too. So like gong work. We have drums of all types. We have
Hmm.
so yeah. So we don't really. I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know where the possibilities could end up going. But we are just enjoying the ride as much as possible. And being here with you right now is really a blessing. Very thankful for you, Ken.
Well, I'm very thankful for what you guys are doing because you're expanding people's knowledge and understanding to whole new levels and bringing your community together uh, globally. Because I know that your brother Mike is sending me the forms for your guys' PMA. I'm actually in a couple already, but you can be in multiple PMAs as
Mhm.
long as they're all in tune and follow the same structure, and have the same basic foundation. But maybe a lot of people don't even understand what a PMA or a private members association is. Maybe you could explain a little bit more to our audience what you mean when you're talking about a PMA.
Absolutely. And I think you have a great wealth of knowledge on the subject too. So I'd love to bounce back and forth with you. But from my understanding, so in March of 2020, we originally wanted to go with the Private Membership Association, the PMA. And the PMA is it's many things. It allows you to do and be pretty much everything that you want it to be, and have the freedom to do those things in however way that you perceive to do those things. So the United States, how they really founded each other and separated from the British rule was through a PMA contract. So when I realized that alone, I was blown away. I mean, all this information about a lot of things, especially what we're involved in, isn't really shared with the people. So it's stuff that we have to study and research and kind of find on our own. Before we had the PMA, we were actually a church. So we've been a church since 2017. It's called Cannabis is Life, Church of Life. But
Right.
moving forward, we knew the church had a lot of protection, but we wanted even more protection. So that's why I dived into researching all these different PMAs and figuring out what their information was, what their paperwork looked like, and it was all very similar. And then when I got down to it, it kind of all it was doing was reinforcing the Constitution, restating how it was originally written for us and that for our people and for our freedom away from the government and from the rule that was not appreciated and was frowned upon. So we are in a spot right now of our lives where we can make the choice of doing what we're continually doing or change what we're doing. And change is always very fearful for a lot of people, but
Mm-hmm.
change leads to growth, and growth allows us to unlock our true limitless potential and to be anything and everything that we want, because who is connected to source is more powerful than a million who are not. So that's kind of a little bit of what a PMA is, and we're just trying to build a community, and that's the biggest thing. And it revolves around health, it revolves around regenerative agriculture, water, school, music, all these natural things that we feel that is true to our heart, and
Mm-hmm.
other people can feel the same way, and bringing those people together. And it's right now it's the momentum of it is really taking off, and you are a huge part of that. And this platform that my father, my brother, myself, my sisters, my entire family have been able to come on and be a part of has allowed for us to share our message. And we've realized the past couple months that that is what we need to do more of, is to share our message, even though this is not something that I'm very comfortable with. But the more that we do it, the more that it gets easier and
Yeah.
easier, and the better that we get at it. So it goes back to that thing. It pushes us out of our comfort zone, and it allows for growth. And this for me is a growing moment. So thank you.
Well, thank you, because I remember a lot of people and really being hesitant to take that step outside of their rut, because it really is a rut. And you guys are being really amazing about taking that next step. But you've been doing that really for a long time, and your dad and your mom have been pushing you guys into that and themselves, and in that growth you guys have been sharing. And that's the main thing, is that sharing of that knowledge and understanding, and allowing people to not just come to you to learn, but to come to you to be held up and lifted up with that knowledge. Now, one of the things they used to teach in performing arts, for the people that were nervous, just think of the crowd as a bunch of naked people out there, and then you can just like laugh at them. And there's nothing funnier than a crowd full of naked people. I don't know how that works though.
That's
But
awesome. Yeah, that was they taught us in school too.
yeah. Well, it's amazing what you guys are doing and taking the next step with actually sharing it now. You guys have been sharing a lot in your local community. You're allowing yourselves to, you know, open your home up for people to come in to share, because you're doing Monday meditations, you're doing
Mhm.
music, etc., for people that are in Maine. And I would suggest that if you guys can, you know, form a YouTube channel where you can get that out and bring more people globally into those meditations, um,
Hmm.
I think that may help everybody in our entire planet. Now, I'll touch back on the PMA for just a moment. For the people that don't understand, to become a real true member of a private members association, you have to take what's called your sovereignty back. And we are all sovereign beings. When we follow the government dictates and we don't take responsibility for ourselves and we regulate that to the government, then we are basically what we call the sheep. We have to be the wolf. We have to take our sovereignty back, but we have to be responsible for our own actions. What we say and what we do has consequences, and you can't go out and do things that are going to harm other people. That's the core of the better PMAs, is you're not going to do any harm.
Mm.
That's all I'll say, other than you guys can research it. I mean, I'm reaching out to a couple of people that know, I've been learning from on PMAs, and I'm probably going to have them on, you know, in the weeks, months ahead, because I think it's something that we really need to understand and take back our own sovereignty, like Dennis and the Mehans have, and they're offering to others. We can offer things to the PMA member that you can't do in normal society because the government won't allow you to, but you can through the PMA. And I think that's what you and your family has really found. Is that not right, Dennis?
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Ken.
I love to research, and I just, you know, I can't stop myself. So, but so we know where you're basically going. You know, you're gathering more people. You're going to be putting your message out more and more and more. So what's really working right now? Like, you guys have the honey pot coming out. You've reached out to a lot of people. They've all basically come back with a really positive response. So I'd say that's working. What else are you guys doing that is really working and drawing people in?
So we're doing a lot of things. Just being able to make a calendar and have a set schedule for people to be able to see and just have that in front of them has been
Hmm.
really wonderful. But a little story I'd like to share with you. Today was actually his last day, but a member of our community, his name is Bill. He had a very high-paying job here in Maine, and he was listening to our vision and our story and what we want to come out of the eventual possibilities of what the barn can produce. And that was probably a month ago now. But
Right.
he put in his 2 weeks 2 weeks ago, and this was his last day at his work, and he's going to be working at the barn full time and supporting our mission completely. So that's just, I mean, that's a huge thing for our family. It's a reassurance for us to have someone, especially like Bill, and Bill is actually going to be the president of the barn.
Mm.
His sacrifice and his continual support has really, um, yeah, we our family can't put it into words really what
Hmm.
the love that he's showing to us and our family. So it's really an honor for that. But yeah, like you said, the honeypot has been really taking off. Everyone that we've been reaching out to has been receiving the love, and not only receiving the love but giving the love back. We've had competitors who are coming from all across the country, and they're really excited about it. The barn is a special place, so anyone that walks into the barn, not only are you witnessing and feeling all the energy of the energies that have been there before you, but you're also putting forth your best energy, and that energy will always stay in the barn and will be carried throughout those walls for eternity. So we're really excited about everything lined up for that. We also have a regenerative conference coming up. It's going to be a weekend long thing, April 14th to the 16th. We are working on finalizing the speakers for that. So if you have anyone that you think would be a good opportunity to have as a speaker, please let us know. We
Okay.
trust your word and everything you share. So that would be really cool. But other than that, we've been doing, like you said, the Monday meditations. Those have been really going wonderful. Tuesday and Thursdays we have open mic nights. So a lot of jam sessions are going out, and those are special in its own special way. Um, we just had a regenerative class open to members that happened on Saturday. We have paint nights that my youngest sister runs, and she just did her first paint night last Friday, so a week ago today. So that was really cool. And like Bill, he used to own 3 gyms down in Massachusetts, so he wants to implement fitness classes into the barn and for people of all types and ages. And so just things keep on rolling and momentum keeps on carrying everything forward. And we're excited for spring and building more gardens and adding to the gardens that we already have and growing more food.
Oh, and that's amazing. And I'm sure you guys are going to be getting into teaching canning and preserving and all of that as well. Now, are you guys going to be doing that just for the fruit and vegetables, or are you guys going to be doing cannabis classes as well?
Yeah, all of it. That's what we found is just the diversity of what we're able to share, and the more information we're able to get out to people, we know it's not going to be retained at first, but if people are able to at least hear that information, it's going to be at least open their mind to something new, which is all we're trying to do.
Well, and that's one of the brilliant things about what you guys are doing, and you are getting it out there more and more. I love how Bill is going to be bringing in the physical education and exercise into the barn as well, because that health of our body and isn't just about eating right and thinking right. It's about using our bodies in the right way, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand, and you guys are going to be bringing that component in. So congrats to Bill, and when you see him, tell him I have much respect for what he's doing.
I will. I'll give him some love from you.
And you know uh, I know we haven't had Mom on yet, and you've got one more sister that we're trying to con in to coming on as well. But I'd love to actually talk to Mom one day and get some real interesting stories about all the kids. I'm sure that there's stuff that you're not telling us that she go, oh, I remember when.
She would love that. I'll talk to her tonight. You'll probably see her a little bit during Megan's interview and podcast, but she would love to share stories. That's one of her all-time favorite things, is just being a mama bear, and there's no one better than her.
Oh yeah, and I can hear the love in your voice when you call her Mama Bear. So I can see when somebody was being harsh to one of her children, I could just see her coming out with the claws bare, and oh no, you don't.
Definitely, for sure. That's mom.
Oh yeah, that's one of the beauties of having a mother like that is that you can rely on her all the time, and I think that's part of what makes you who you are, is having that stability, having that rock in your mother. So so much respect to Mom and to your dad for allowing you guys to experience a lot of the things that you have experienced. So right now, what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing, other than like we're all facing money challenges? What are some of the other challenges that you guys are looking to overcome in the future?
Um, Probably, to be honest with you, what we're doing right now. So being able to get our word out there more, being able to put our faces in front of a screen more to be able to share our story. That's going to be the biggest thing for our family. I think we're going to be starting up something that we've been talking about for a long time, our own podcast called Rooted in Love. Um, so that's definitely going to be a plan within the next couple of weeks. We plan on doing like you said, a YouTube channel, so people will be able to experience morning meditations and some of the open mic stuff. So I think those will be really wonderful and great opportunity for more people to see what we're doing.
Well, exactly. And if you guys need help, just let me know, and I'll help you as much as I can I've got a little bit of experience in this now. So,
Yeah, you're a master now.
oh, I don't know about a master, but I'm getting there in the back end. I'm learning more and more and more, but there's a lot more to the backside of YouTube than people understand, and promoting the backside as well to get your message out. And I'll help you guys as much as I possibly can for that, because it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but at least you guys have a large family and you can, each take a little hunk of what needs to be done. Um, so what else you've got, some events coming up. I know you've got a lot of fantastic speakers coming to your first event. I think I heard Brandon Rust is coming. Who are some of the other speakers you guys have for the honeypot?
So there's a lot of cool people. So Hidden Forest, most of them are from Maine. Hidden Forest from
Okay.
Maine, Hunter. He's a really cool guy. He's going to be sharing how different things, but he's going to be talking about growing. So there's different panels. We're going to have a grow panel, a wash panel, and a self-reliance panel. Each panel will have 3 speakers. Each speaker will get about a half hour to talk about their story and what they want to share. And then after those half hours of each person, then they'll open up for questions for like the entire group, for the entire panel, and then go to the next panel. But yeah, so Hunter from Hidden Forest, Art and Craft, Richie, Sticky Ricky from Massachusetts will be talking about self-reliance. He owns he's a homesteader from Mass, so that'll be really cool. He owns his own farm and animals. I should know this because I just did it earlier. Hold on one second. I'll pull it up for you.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, if they get the chance, are going to want to come, and having a speakers list would be really great, and you guys, if you have the opportunity, you're definitely going to want to record as much of it as you possibly can for putting onto your YouTube channel. That content is stuff that people really need to be able to connect with.
Absolutely. So I just found it. So right now for our grow panel, we have Skunkfoot Farms, who was also he helped sponsor the event, which was amazing and wonderful. Dave, he's a great person. Hunter from Hidden Forest, we just talked about a little bit. And then Forrest is the next person. He's from up in northern Maine. He knows so much about plants and the native plants, and really looking forward to hearing him speak. Our wash panel will be Wolverine Dabs. He'll be talking about dry sifting.
Okay.
Art and Craft, Cannabis. He'll be talking about. He has a really cool talk that he's been preparing, and it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to his for his conversation. Colin from Vessel Life will be talking about on the wash panel. For the self-reliance panel, it'll be Third Room. They're from Detroit. They're really cool people. Sticky Richie, who we were just talking about, the homesteader from Massachusetts, and Stonehouse Gardener, who is a farmer in Maine. And yeah, so we're really looking forward to all those people, and it's going to be a wealth of information being shared that day.
Okay, somebody you should reach out to,
Fish Bro.
because they're in Maine too, aren't they? Like just down the road from you guys, I think.
They're in New Hampshire, Mass, and maybe Northern Mass or New York. So they have 3 spots. But we did reach out to Fish Brew. They're going to be a sponsor for the event. So they're going to be sponsoring and donating some of their product for the growers and the contestants. So they'll be able to bring that home for their personal grows. So that would be really cool for them to try out their stuff, because we're firm and strong believers in Fish Brew and what they're producing over there.
Yeah, and I've got Keith on next week, and then Keith and Kyle, who Leighton has been talking about, and the corn crops coming on, not on the 20th, on the next Monday, so I think the 27th. They're going to be on the Soil Matters podcast, but yeah, there's some amazing people doing some amazing things that you guys are connecting with. You should see who you can hook up with for bees, because those native pollinators, etc., are very important. So that might be something you guys want to look at as well. Um, yeah, I don't know anybody in that area that you could reach out to, but you might want to consider something on along those lines. But you have any infusion people coming in? Anybody that's going to be teaching canning, drying? Like you've got your homesteaders. Are they going to be teaching some of that stuff as well?
I don't believe on this day. That may be something that we do for like the Regen conference, or it may be even something that we do completely by itself. So we'll have a canning class for the
Okay.
members and people of our community. That's
Hmm.
something that me and the family actually have been learning a lot more of the past year. As we grow more and more food, we want to learn more and more about canning and the right way of doing it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, fermented foods are so much easier for us to break down in our bodies for the biology to use that, because it's already partially broken down. It's one of the better ways to eat food, is not processed, but broken down by the natural enzymes, etc. But yeah, just thinking of different things that you guys could introduce into what you guys are doing. um it's I enjoy listening to people and learning so much, and you guys are teaching so much. The more that you can teach, of course, the more people are going to show up. Um, so let's talk about the more the cannabis end. I know you guys are doing breeding products, projects, etc. Let's go a little bit into what you're doing in that area.
Yeah, a whole bunch. So this past year, we focused, well, didn't focus, but we grew a lot more of other grower stuff from around the country, a lot of family farms that we wanted to support and try out their stuff that they were excited about. So
Hmm.
we were excited about that, but we didn't grow as much as of our strains that we've been creating over the years. So we're getting more into growing more of our strains this year, and we're going on a big pheno hunt, which we're really excited about. And we're infusing the stuff that we were got from the other farmers and the other families, and crossbreeding that with some of our favorite stuff. So there's a lot of different plans for the future that we're definitely excited about, and we have different ideas of how we're going to breed, and we're going to be bringing a lot more males and holding on to a lot more males and putting them in the woody part of our property. So a lot of
Hmm.
ideas with that. So we're excited about those things.
So you guys do have some very particular strains that you guys have created.
Mhm.
And I know Mikey was talking about, just random seeds and plants popping up, around the property. Are you guys just going to let that grow out? Or are you going to actually, look at maintaining that so that you don't have, you know, uh, open pollination where you don't want open pollination? Or how do you guys handle that side of it?
Yeah, so when we do open pollination, we're pulling all the males except for the males that we want to keep.
Hmm.
When we did that a couple of years ago, we only left two males in our garden. We have an upper and a lower garden. So our upper was crossbred with our symphony male, and our lower garden was crossbred with one of Stayfly males. Who Stayfly Farms is one of our favorite breeders. They're doing really phenomenal work, really phenomenal family out there. They're going to actually be sponsoring the honey pot, so
Cool.
very thankful for them. Absolutely. But yeah, my dad, you know his story a little bit, but
Hmm.
when he was breeding and when he was really getting into it, what he was breeding for was for strains that took his pain away. So
Yes.
he was dealing with high pain. So anything that was remotely close or taking the pain away completely, he would continue forward, and he was very picky with those strains.
Hmm.
My brother and I think we're going back for more original strains, more OG strains, going back to excuse me, more of the gassy flavors. But it's because we do have a big family. Almost every single person in our family has a different different blend of strains and flavors that they like. So
Hmm.
we kind of hit all the components when we're breeding and we're crossing. We're looking for different things that check out the boxes for each person. So we have a little bit of everything in the garden at all times.
Well, and biodiversity is fantastic, and each strain has its own particular biology that it really attunes itself to. And so by mixing them like that, you have, you know, an environment where you can find new genetic potential from the strains that you are growing, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, Silly Lily has a question here. How big is the property where the barn is located?
So there's just under 13 acres.
Nice.
Yeah, it's mostly we have an open parking lot, which is probably right around 2 acres, and then we have almost rolling hills that has surrounded by a wood line and a
Hmm.
rock wall. Um, so yeah, all the sun also goes from east to west, so completely over the field, so it's completely covered by natural sunlight the whole day. Ideal growing conditions. There's very strong winds there because we are at the base of a hill, pretty tall hill there called Blinn Hill, and we're also uh, probably a third of a mile from the Kennebec River. So we have winds that come from both directions, and at times it can be extremely strong and gust up to anywhere between 60 to 70 miles an hour. And you
Hmm.
have winds coming from both directions, so they start colliding with each other and whipping around, and it can make for definitely extreme conditions, but that I think it makes for stronger genetics in the long run.
Well, I would give you kudos for that because it obviously is going to make stronger genetics because your plant has to root that much deeper, be that much stronger. And wind stress, you look at Kevin Jodry, some of the strains that he's growing up on top of his mountain, they only do the best up in that environment. So you guys are really creating strains for your terroir, your environment, that is going to be that extra special because of where you are.
Yeah, exactly. And when we continue to grow those generations out and those seeds year after year in that same location and that same soil and that same hugel beds, it's the communication, it's that knowledge, it's that remembrance of what those seeds and what those plants have felt before. And it's really special to be able to see the daughters and the generations and the lineage just getting more prolific and stronger and healthier and more vibrant and it thriving. There's really no other
Mhm.
word for it.
And that's exactly it. It's like, your mom and dad and the four kids, you guys are thriving that much more living in that environment. And that's what is you're happening in your plants. And it doesn't matter if it's cannabis plants, if it's vegetable plants, tomatoes, the longer that a particular plant is growing in that area, it really matches into that area and that environment and makes itself that much stronger. I think you guys have seen that right along.
Yeah, absolutely. Time and time again.
Yeah. So we're approaching the hour mark, and there's one question, and I've asked this of your dad. I've asked this of Mikey. I'm going to be asking it of Megan, so she can prepare herself. You
Okay.
know,
I'll let her
but
know.
what? What's that?
I'll let her know.
Okay. What will you have to say to the youth of today about the passion it takes to find their path in life?
Two things. So the first
Mhm.
thing is something my father has always told me, which is follow your smile. Um, the second thing is to always believe in yourself, always know in yourself that anything and everything is possible. Don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise. Don't even teachers, parents, they have your best interest at heart, but you are capable of everything and anything. And don't allow anyone to tell you otherwise, including yourself, because you are more powerful than you even know.
Mhm. So Basically, no retreat, no surrender. Believe in yourself, and just take it to the extreme, and just keep going.
Yeah, incrementally you'll get there, all in divine timing.
Well, you consider, when a child is born, how long does it take them to actually get up to the stage where they can run around, where they can kick that field goal at what you said, 48 feet or 49-foot field goal?
47 yards.
47 yards. Yeah, it took you a couple of days to get to that point, didn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Dennis, I want to thank you for your time today. You have been amazing. And I know that you guys aren't used to doing this, and you're pushing yourself, making yourselves do more of these. And you did a fabulous job. You're a wonderful young man with a lot of knowledge and a lot of information to help people. And it is very special what you guys are doing and pushing yourself to share. Brother, I got to say blessings.
I appreciate you, Ken, so much. Thank you.
And with that, guys, we know you guys have some events coming up, so don't hesitate to check out. I'm sure it's on Nature Summit. It's probably on the community barn as well. You guys are posting to. And
Yeah.
do you guys have a honey pot website or IG, or is it all just linked into those two?
So we do have an Instagram for honeypot. It's honeypot369. But
Okay,
yeah.
so there you guys go. As for us, we have Megan coming up in an hour's time.
Yeah.
So I get a chance to run around and give the wife a hug and everything, run the dogs, and then we'll be back on with Megan here in an hour talking about what she's doing in the school that she's developing at the barn. And I think that's going to be a fabulous conversation. And of course, we have Leighton Morrison, Dr. Av Singh, The Soil Matters on Monday with Josh and Kelly from Dragonfly Earth Medicine. You're not going to want to miss that one. We also have Keith Welda from Fish Brew coming on next week. And somebody else, and I can't remember their name, but check out my IG because I've got them on there. They're a soil scientist and follower of Dr. Elaine Ingham. And we're going to be talking about what they're doing, what they have coming up. So thank you, everybody, for being here. You guys are an amazing audience. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the content out with your friends, your social media. The more that you share, the more people are going to be here, especially for the lives. And we really appreciate that. So, Dennis, do you have anything else that you would like to add before I end the broadcast?
Just follow that smile. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. And everybody, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in about an hour.